A research conducted by the Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana has revealed that about 90% of dams constructed under government's One Village, One Dam initiative in the Upper East region cannot be used for irrigation purposes. The research further reveals that there was poor consultation with other government agencies such as the district assemblies in the planning phase of the initiative, and as a result, the district assemblies could not effectively supervise the projects. Upper East Regional Correspondent Albert Story sat through a dissemination session for the researchers' findings and came through with this report.
The Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana, with funding from Oxfam, commissioned the research to examine the implementation of the One Village, One Dam initiative in the Upper East region. The study aimed to, among other things, establish the number of dams constructed within the region, examine the appropriateness of the dams in serving domestic and agricultural purposes, and determine the usefulness of the dams in addressing the water requirement of the beneficiary communities during the dry seasons. The research, which was led by Professor Joseph Yarrow of the Department of Geography at the University of Ghana, established that so far, 83 out of the 140 dams promised by the government have been completed. This represents 59%. Professor Joseph Yarrow gave some details of the findings of the research.
People were not really involved in one, site selection, into the kind of dam, 3, the kind of uses that it was going to eventually be for, and 4, the kind of safety concerns and environmental impacts it will have on them. These were things that were not considered. Normally, when we have projects like this, we do environmental and social assessments, and these were taken for granted and left out. And that subsequently has come to haunt us, as people have realized as dams have been abandoned, and the little land that families had, which were given out, have become degraded lands that they cannot use. Now remember, Upper East is not like Northern region, where you can take a piece of land and it doesn't affect the families. Every single piece of land matters here. So once you've taken someone's 4 hectares of land, a family's 4 hectares of land, they and their descendants become traumatized eventually. It will take a lot of effort to reclaim those dams, that is, if you want to get them back to farmland status.
He said about 90% of the dams constructed under the One Village, One Dam initiative in the Upper East region cannot be used for irrigation purposes.
Some communities had a better geology for a much bigger dam, but because they are limited to only 250,000, such a dam could not be put up. So then we think that it will be much more useful in the future if we aggregated the sums and did dams in places where dams are possible, and left out communities that did not have the best geology for dams. For many places, we could do bigger dams 4 times the size of these. Most of these dams basically can be classified as domestic use or livestock dams, really, in terms of use, in terms of usage, but not for farming. So irrigation really is out of the question for probably 90% of the dams. It's not possible for any irrigation.
The Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana's research also touched on the key issue of the amount of money allocated for the construction of each dam and whether the amount was enough to construct good quality dams. Andrew Alalbila is an engineer with the Ghana Irrigation Development Authority who were interviewed as key informants in the research.
Considering the amount that was involved in the construction of the One Village, One Dam, we were told it was between 230,000 to 250,000 Ghana cedis per dam site. Yes, for one to construct a very meaningful and a very dam that will serve the purposes of irrigation, that money will not be enough. Some of them have met our standards. Some have actually been overstretched. A dam like Zasibulga, that is in the Timpani district. We went there during the dry season, and the irrigable area was all occupied with onion, fresh onion.
The Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana has also made some recommendations to the government based on the findings of their research. Abdul Rahman Mohammed is national president of the association.
When they were implementing it, we were made to understand that it was coming to serve the purpose of the drought. We will be able to farm throughout. But now, this is not what we are seeing. Even in the rainy season, there is no water. So when do we expect to get water now? So we are calling on government to revisit that project and make sure that they are well renovated and they are well structured, and then so that the farmers will use them, or else they can't use them.
It remains to be seen whether government will improve on the size and quality of dams constructed under the One Village, One Dam initiative. For Joynews, Albert Sori reporting from Bolgatanga.